So I'm going to be talking about assessment in training sessions. So the trainer, the assessor, and how they can use assessment throughout a training session to make it as effective as possible. So training courses for adults are really different actually than when you're teaching children. I'm a trained secondary school teacher, and the difference between going on a training course as an adult and teaching children and thinking about what they're capable of, how to embed that knowledge, different kind of activities and things to try, you just don't see it a lot with adult education at all. And I think that's a really interesting point. A lot of the time it's just about kind of like sitting and taking in as much information as possible, and it's up to you as the learner to decide whether you know everything that you need to, whether you understand everything, and to ask any questions. But you don't know if you've understood everything. You think you have, but who's to tell you that actually you interpreted something wrong or misunderstood something? You don't know unless there's assessment taking place. The other way is with like a test at the end where, it's your responsibility to make sure you've got all the information that you need to be able to complete this test and pass the course. But by then it's too late. You can't change whether you know that information or not. There's no kind of room for improvement, no room for error. And so again, not great, not really what you're looking for. So when can you assess knowledge and understanding during a training course? So obviously at the end, yeah, you can, but with other assessment throughout is really important. So what's good is maybe doing an assessment at the beginning of the training course as well. Think about what your learning objectives are, what do you want someone to achieve by the end, and find out where all of your learners are at the moment. So get them to like rate themselves against the learning objectives, or ask some multiple choice questions or true or false questions to find out where that knowledge is at now, so that you can see where it needs to get to, and also you can make a judgment about whether you have achieved your aims of the training session at the end, and the learners can see where they've learned as well. You can also assess verbally through question and answer. So an assessment doesn't have to be written. It can be you asking questions and getting the answers back verbally, and confirming to yourself whether they have reached what you need out of them. And that gives you an opportunity to kind of prompt, to probe further into what someone is saying, to try and get that information out and get them to understand what you need them to do, even if that wasn't like the immediate first thing that they say. Group work is great. People take on different roles. It's really important to be clear when you're doing any group work activities about what you want people to achieve and how you want them to do that, and how you're going to be assessing them throughout. But by observing people and how they're interacting and naturally having those conversations and sharing ideas and building upon what other people are saying to reach, like an outcome or a conclusion, is a great way of assessing people. Then you've got like obvious things like multiple choice quizzes. You could use true or false cards. You could do sorting tasks where you give them the information they need to make an order or like sense out of that information. And a really nice one as well is applying information to a case study. So actually seeing it in practice, how are we actually going to use this information that you've given us? What different situations might we find ourselves in? And how are we going to use this information? So you can see, practically in the workplace, or wherever this training course is for, have they understood what that actually means? Will they be able to call on this knowledge and understanding to actually make use of it and be effective in this role that they're taking on, or in this area that they're going to have this expertise in? Does it matter if you don't know the answer first time? If you ask someone a question, or if they're doing group work and they're going totally off on the wrong point? No, not at all. That's great actually, because by assessing them, you've realised midway through your training course, at different points when you're checking in, you've realised, oh, wait a minute, that's not where I want things to be right now. Actually, they've misunderstood something, or they're not applying that the way that I need them to, or they're not going into enough detail, or that example isn't quite what I'm looking for. And that gives you the opportunity to set them right on the right path again, to make sure that they've got that knowledge and understanding to build upon for the next thing that you're going to be working on together. And so it's a great opportunity actually for people to see what they've learned, for you to make sure that, you know, what you don't want is someone to completely miss something at the beginning of a training course. By the end, you know, there is absolutely no way that they're going to be satisfactory, you know, knowledge and understanding wise. And it's too late then. What are you going to do about it? So for your benefit and for theirs, it's really important to think about all the ways that you can use assessment throughout the training course and be a really good trainer.